Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for being here with me. Today we are March 18th or 19th, 2026. And this is a short video where we are going to be discussing my own personal thoughts and opinion regarding the war that is happening between the United States, Israel, along with Iran. I feel like just being on TikTok, hearing from other TikTokers or hearing from people their own personal thoughts and opinion, and feeling as if the president of the United States is it's looking as if he's not receiving any form of support from NATO, from European unions and all of those countries. And I really wanted to come here and give you different perspective regarding what's happening and why they are trying to um, put the president on the side. Are we here? One thing that we have to understand is that President Trump is not liked. That is not a man who is liked by most president and most government of other countries, even within his country. And the reason that President Trump is not liked is because he is speaking on the truth the majority of the time. President Trump tells you things like it is. He does not go around the bushes. He is not afraid to look at a president and look at their country and feel like your country it's not representing. What are you doing? And because of that, he is not liked. The majority of the decision that the president of the United States takes, he takes it with his administration. He does not consult with Congress or with anyone else. But the majority of the decision that he is making, it is in great part to support the leverage of the United States of America within the globe. So as this war is happening, last night I was fully on TikTok and it looks like he's in a bind and he's asking other people, hey, you know what? I'm in a bind. Can you come and show the support? And they're saying, no, you are in this for yourself. How do I feel about that? I feel like they are traitors. NATO, the European Union, France, because as the president mentioned, how many times has the United States of America supported all of those other countries? How many times has your money, government, taxpayers' money, gone into other countries for things that the United States had absolutely nothing to do with? So now, today, because the president has decided to attack a country that he felt would have attacked him first, and he went ahead and attacked them. So all of a sudden, all of those countries are having a personal problem with him. It's a war. Them choosing not to support the United States of America is them choosing their side. So when the president is talking about he doesn't even know why the United States is part of NATO, I agree with him because the United States has always been the bigger player in all of those stupidities such as NATO, those stupidities such as the European Union, and these other stupidities such as the United Nations. The United States of America is more of a heavyweight in terms of what they are paying. They're just pissed off that President Trump is in power and is calling the shots. He's like, okay, no, we're not about to move like this. What we are about to do is that you're going to start paying. If you want our support, if you want us to do this for you, if you want us to do that for you, then you have to pay. I agree with him. But does it mean that because he is legitimate, like he is making sure that, the United States is not being used and abused? So now there is a war going on because we have to be honest and understand that it's a war. So where do you show your support? The support shouldn't go toward Iran. Let's be very honest. The support should be toward him, even when you may feel like, okay, you really acted, on impulse or you did not consult with us. But because of what the US government has represented, it feels as if they are penalizing the man. They are penalizing the man because they don't like him. That's the situation. It's not about, oh, the US entered the war, and no, it's about Trump. It's about the fact that they're looking at it like, we don't like him. We don't like what he stands for. We don't like the way that he's been moving, and we are going to do that. Remember when the president had to go to the United Nations and how they stopped the escalator from going up? That is clearly, they don't like the man, and they don't like the man because the man is working, because the man is truly wanted for his country, not only to stand on business, but he's calling the shot and he's telling things like it is. President Trump will always be my president. He will always be my candidate. And the matter of the war with Iran, I know that many people are not probably going to understand. But if he's calling these guys, he says, let's sit down and let's talk. There are so many reports coming out showing that Iran has nuclear weapon, that at any given time he can decide to bomb any other countries within his region. And the US is saying, hold up, we have allies in this region. We want these people to be able to, move. We want these people to be able to like be free. And we don't feel like Iran should have so much control. He's calling on to the leaders in Iran and he's saying, let's sit down, let's talk about everything. And they're not wanting to talk with him, which they have the right to do so. Absolutely. They have the right to do so. They don't have the right to be the leech dog. But then the United States is looking at it, because we have to remember, as the president of the US, he is the commander in chief of the army. So when American people oppose his leadership and so heavily, oh my God. So when American people oppose the leadership of President Trump so heavily, you are showing that you are not for your country. Because as the commander in chief of the army, in front of his desk, he has reports that we don't have access to, that you don't have access to. He has reports that people don't have access to. Now, I don't know those reports, but I trust that he would not invade and go into another country just because, understanding the repercussion that this would have had. Now, granted, I love the fact that Iran is standing on business and they're saying, you attack us first, so we're going to keep attacking. We're going to fight. That's fair enough. They have the right to fight and they've been fighting. But for the US to be in such a bind, because you have to understand, it's no longer a Cold War. So the bigger countries, it's difficult for them to intervene. I'm talking about countries such as Russia, I'm talking about China, right? So it should be the immediate support of the US, such as the NATO countries, the European Union, to say, okay, England, to say, okay, we're going to send our support, but they're not doing that. And it shows everything that US citizen and American people should know. Because what would have happened if Iran had bombed the US? Think about that. Think about if the president had not reacted like this, and if Iran had decided, you know what, we're about to bomb them, or Iran bombed another country in the region, then what? I don't know. I'm very fair in my judgment. I'm very, very fair with everything that's going on, but I see things for what they are. And the way that they're moving with President Trump, they're just doing that because they do not like the man. And they don't like him because he tells things like it is. He doesn't beat around the bushes. He'll tell you things like it is. I will always support President Trump because President Trump is standing on business. There is very little when I'm even thinking about the immigration policies. I will be receiving someone very, very soon, and the support of people who constantly and continuously want to remain under the TPS status when it comes to Haiti. But we've discussed this before. This literally almost got my blood pressure to go up last summer, and I'm not about to go down like this again this year. But why will the United States of America continuously open the temporary protective status in regards to Haiti? Why not legitimate? legitimize the people who were there because it's all about money. It benefited them for them to do that. Benefited them for them to have people come and be under the TPS, not giving them any sort of legal status, right? Open a new program for only 2 years, which destabilized completely the entire country, the entire region. I mean, am I the only one who's thinking straight? It feels like President Trump and myself are the only people who are really thinking straight when it comes to the US. Hopefully, his vice president is on board with what he's doing because I mean, I'm out of words when it comes to you understanding that what the man is doing and the moves that the man is making is what is right for his country. Who stays under the temporary protective status for 20 plus years? And literally, this country has regressed beyond what we can think about. But he's at fault. Let's not discuss that. So that's what I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. I really wanted to come. I have my notes. So I say Iran is keeping a stronghold. Yeah, they are keeping a stronghold. I think that they are realizing that in this war, they don't necessarily have the lesser hand. And one of the reasons, in my opinion, that they don't have the lesser hand is because I am afraid, and I think I wrote this in my notes, that the president of the United States doesn't have the support. If you remember, I was not born with the Vietnam War, but if you remember about the Vietnam War, it it stopped because of the people of the United States. They were against the American people were against the Vietnam War, and that's what stopped it. And I'm afraid that if the majority of the people, now, don't get me wrong, I am not war. I'm not pro war. Absolutely not. But it's already happening. So I'm going to always side with President Trump, right? Now, in the matter of the American people, I'm afraid that if the majority of them are showing their discontent for the war, what is it makes the US have the weaker hand, even if President Trump is saying that we don't have the weaker hand, like this is a war that is done. He's realizing that it's not as easy because now other countries are trying to strategize themselves. Other countries are looking at, okay, well, it looks like Iran is not backing down. Maybe we can show our support. People are cautious and they don't want to jump into it because people are looking at what? They're looking at interest. What will be in our interest? How is this going to benefit us? This is why President Trump said, we will remember, because he's literally saying that we will remember. However, one thing that I want, and I'm pretty sure like he knows that he doesn't need anybody to remind him that, is that these other countries are opposing it, not because NATO is I see this going around. NATO is a defense. They don't support offense, but they don't support offense. But isn't it true that Iran got attacked because Iran had nuclear weapon, and they're saying that they could use it at any given time. So President Trump should have been a punk and let them use their weapon on either another country or on, and then NATO, and no, he took the upper route. He's like, okay, let's do this. Not many people will have the perspective that I have, and I'm okay with that. I'm here to always come and show you another way and make sure that you truly understand what's going on and not feed in the current chaos and the current flow and calling the president all type of names, especially if you are an American person, an American citizen. As an American person, you should stand with your president. Even if in the midst of everything, you feel like, well, he could have, chosen a different route. As the commander in chief, as the president of the USA, what that man is doing is making sure that all of the citizens of the United States are being respected. He is making sure that as you carry your American passport, you are proud. As a Haitian woman who lives in the country of Haiti, I would pay everything to have a president like that for my country. I respect President Trump. I respect him. And that's where all Americans should be. You should be proud that you have such a president who's unafraid, who's bold, and who's completely unafraid to stand on business. You should be proud of that man, of that president. Do not listen to those old rag over at the views. Oh my God, those are hocus pocus people who talk nonsense. Nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. Nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump is the number one guy, the only administration who's been working, the only administration who's calling in the shot, the only man who doesn't give a damn. And President Trump, you have my full support. I was even thinking to myself, I said, with the level of crime that's been going on in Haiti, with the level of young men in Haiti who carry weapons, that if we had a government, we should be sending these guys to you so you could put them in training. And, if you needed more people to join, because at the end of the day, what are they doing in Haiti? They have weapons. They've become serial criminals with weapons. Excuse the noise. Serial criminals with weapons, killing, going around killing for no reason, right? So this is my personal thoughts and opinion regarding the current war in Iran and Iraq. But mainly, ladies and gentlemen, it is because I see things for what they are. Thank you so much for being there with me. I will see you soon.